Greetings, and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast that stuck around long enough to witness the demise of yet another set of systems. I'm your host, and the man who still technically has his Wii U connected to his television, David Lloyd. And in this episode, we talk about the death of a pair of Nintendo systems and the birth of some new games. Joining me as our senior MMO correspondent, excited to share his experience of another online game, it's Casey Gibson.
Yep, I'm ready to waste another couple hundred hours of my life.
I saw, it was funny, I saw on Twitter that Lost Ark came out, and Asmongold was apparently like set a personal record or tripled a personal record or something of viewers when he started playing it, and I was like, I bet you Casey's gonna be playing this game soon.
Yeah, I think he capped out. It was like 460,000 people were watching him.
Yeah, and I think
his
like personal best was like 120 or 140 or something before that time or something.
I'm not sure exactly, but I know this definitely smashed. It might have been, I don't know if it was like the highest stream for like concurrent views for just like a single person. I don't know, but I know it was definitely up there. And I think there was like 750,000 people watching it on like launch day, and like almost all of them were watching on Asmon's. But yeah, it's definitely getting a bunch of interest and seems to be doing pretty well. So we'll see if it can last.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear about it. So, and also joining us is the woman who did all the homework necessary for this episode, while I toiled away with playing a game. And please check out her feature. That's I don't know if it's on the RPG site now.
No, I don't even know if it will be. They didn't. Okay. No one seemed that interested, and I'm not sure if I should take the initiative to just post it myself or not, or if I'll get in trouble for doing that. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have a whole list of all. I mean, that's based on the European eShop because, like, there's differences of things that aren't on like the American stuff, and the American can be exclusive to that, but like all the RPGs are on both systems. So.
Yeah. Well, now I don't feel so bad that we're going to be using your list tonight. So now the list is not going to waste. So I'm happy. Oh, and
so
and
far
this is
so good. It's
Chamberlain
the Thirsty Mage exclusive.
Yeah, that's right. Page with the Thirsty Mage exclusive 3DS. The definitive list of games to buy before they're no longer available.
R.I.P.
I can't believe. I think it's so nuts that. I feel like the 3DS, like there were games. I know there hasn't been games for a little while, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long that all of a sudden, like they're like, throw the 3DS in the trash. Like it's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they must have the numbers, right? Like they must be making barely any sales now, and then just I guess projected in the next year, or like we'll it'll taper off, and it's
they're not any. There's not any 3DSs for people to buy. I've got at least a couple people coming in asking about 3DS games or 3DSs. There just aren't any.
Really?
Yeah.
I know like Vitas don't go on sale like anymore. I mean, I know obviously not new, but I'm pretty sure it's hard to get a used Vita as well.
Oh, I would. Yeah.
That's what I find funny too, is like when Sony announced that they're like, okay, I think we've had enough of the PS3 and PSP. We're going to be shutting those down, and everyone like ran out with the pitchforks. And I'm like, those are like 15-year-old systems, and now Nintendo. But the funny thing with Nintendo is they were clever because they distracted everybody with that memories thing. Yeah. So all of a sudden, like any complaints people had about the systems being shut down were drowned out by the. Man, I watched a lot of Netflix on my Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I watched Netflix. Like I said, I think my sister or someone else used it.
Yeah, it would have been before you had the new systems and the Wii U was all you had.
Wii U days.
I mean, I'm not surprised they're shutting it down after the Wii, like Wii U at least. 3DS I am a bit more because that's still pretty popular. But like I said, Wii U was less popular, and they shut down Miiverse not even a couple of months after the Switch came. Like they killed that straight away, and that kind of removes a lot of stuff in some of the games.
Good
Uh,
old Miiverse. They had the metaverse before there was ever a metaverse.
so yeah, I'm not really that surprised in the Wii U, and um, but on the plus, I mean, on the plus side, at least now you'll have free reign to connect your systems to your computer, if you know what I mean. Enough to,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was supposed to give the official details. So if doesn't know, Nintendo announced that by late March 2023, you cannot purchase software, including DLC, from the Wii U or 3DS eShops, including stuff like demos. Before that, from August 29th this year, eShop cards will not be able to be used to add funds onto the shop. But if you've got like a Switch and your Nintendo Network ID is connected to your Nintendo account, you can share the balance, which is how I bought a couple of things because I already had some eShop credit on my Switch, and that's connected, which you can do. So that way you can still buy up until that date. And any download codes you haven't used, you want to use those before the end of March 2023.
Yeah, are they did they mention it, if you own like the downloading of games? Like I wonder when the actual
They haven't said when they're
downloading
going to
of games
shut
is
that down. They just said, like, because you'll still be able to
it's just the
re-download
purchasing they're
stuff,
turning off.
but
Yeah.
purchasing or getting anything like you hadn't had on your account already, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, the Wii U makes sense. Like almost every Wii U game that's worth playing is pretty much on Switch now
It's already on the
anyway,
Switch, yeah.
other than
You could
maybe
pay
a handful.
$60 retail for those.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's I guess there's I mean Xenoblade X is probably the or Wind Waker, I suppose, are kind of the one and two
Yeah,
of
my,
games that aren't
my
on Switch yet. But I mean, like, I guess Star Fox depends who you talk to, but whether thinks Star Fox should be on Switch. I guess
well,
one could
they've
argue,
already got
yeah,
Start for 64 on the Switch. I don't know what's the difference. Uh,
yeah. All they have to do is just make that add a few more, another 100p to that, and it's pretty much the same thing, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like you guys were sort of saying. I sort of just agree along those lines. Yeah, it seems Wii U not too shocking. Especially at this point. It's still crazy to me that the Switch has been out for just about 5 years now, which is just mind boggling. But yeah, the 3DS seems like it still has some life in there. So surprised that they would cut those sales off, but just gonna make those physical copies worth even more money.
yeah, I was thinking about just thinking about my Bravely Default copy, like back in the day. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that we played that. I think I can't, it was a while ago now, but thinking like back then, I think I paid like $70 for it or something like 2 or 3 years ago. But and that was like before the big how like before everything just like skyrocketed up. So I'm curious what that thing's worth today.
Mm, yeah, probably not cheap.
No. And it was I was actually thinking it wasn't that long ago I was actually considering like my 3DS is kind of beat up and I have the large, it's like the XL. It's not the new 3DS, but it's the XL right before the new 3DS. And so I was actually like him and Han about whether it'd be worth picking up the 2DS XL, like the
Mm.
basically the
I
last
do
one
like
that
how
they
those
released.
look.
I have
Yeah.
my normal 3DS. I use the new 3DS, and I have a spare Pikachu edition of the new 2DS XL, which
Oh yeah.
was just supposed to be like a backup system.
Yeah.
Because like they're hard to get, and that happened to be in the store, and I was like, yeah, I've got 220 bucks in my pocket, like I'll get it now while it's
Thank
still there.
you.
But now, because I can't use it concurrently because you can only have your Nintendo account on one 3DS, which was
Yeah.
annoying
Oh
because I
man.
kind of wanted to maybe like mod it for capture footage. Um, but I was going to be like, oh, but what about any of my DLC? Or like, I have a ton of digital games on the 3DS. Like, I won't be able to get any of that because I won't be on that account. But now I don't have to. I might use it sooner, or that can be the one that's naughty, and then you know,
I really do miss. Like, I wish there was a way that you could have multiple 3DSs,
yeah.
like linked to one account. Because yeah, I remember the great debate of like, oh, do you like the new, the XL or the regular one? And it's like back when the 3DS was out, I had a whole bunch of them. So it was like and I would switch and be like, oh, I like the bigger screen. Oh, I like the compact, small bit, bit,
Form factor.
and I'd go back and forth. But yeah,
Mm.
it was such a pain to have to transfer like the entire system over. Ugh.
But you got to see the little Pikmin
Yeah,
and
yeah, the
carry on at the
carrion.
same time.
Go to work, Pikmin.
Yeah. Well, maybe before we talk about the games that we're going to lose, maybe we could just briefly talk about the games that we enjoyed the most. Like I know we were sharing those. I didn't actually go on and do that login memories thing, so I have no idea what the computer says are the most games I played. But I'm curious what your guys' favorite games are on the Wii U and the 3DS.
The Wii U, definitely Nintendo Land. And that's not going to come away from the Wii U because that uses the gamepad so much. So, like, that's the sad, like, a lot of these things are just like, yep, they're stuck on the Wii U, they're not going to get a port. So, definitely Nintendo Land, that's super fun. I think that might be the main one because, Mario Kart's been on the Switch for a while, things
Yes.
like that. Pikmin 3's on the Switch.
Like you said,
But
pretty much all the good games, minus
any good
a
game that
couple,
doesn't
but
require the gamepad.
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much made its way
Almost,
over.
yeah.
What about
So
3DS?
that 3DS, Fantasy Life. They
Mm.
actually, it's really, I don't know what's happening now because the next Fantasy Life is an online mobile game, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
they announced that finally there's going to be an English version, and I logged into the beta, and then maybe a week after that announcement, oh, Fantasy Life Online's shutting down. I was like, so is the English one not happening?
That doesn't
Uh,
bode well for the future.
yeah, so I was quite sad because I was like, oh, finally I can play another Fantasy Life. Um, I think on terms of the hours on the 3DS are messed up because obviously I've transferred the system. So because I feel like Animal Crossing New Leaf should definitely be up the top on the memory thing, but they have Dragon Quest 8 with like 96 hours, so not quite 100 almost. So
Just
yeah,
shy.
definitely Fantasy Life, Yokai Watch 2, and what was the other one? Dragon Quest 8, Fantasy Life 2, Yokai Watch, not Fantasy Life 1, Which 2. Those would be the main three, and then obviously the other ones I liked, like Same Utopia, but that got ported to Switch. Tomodachi Life. People like the Last Direct were starting to wait for series that haven't moved to the Switch yet, like Tomodachi Life, Nintendogs, and like the style. In America, they're Style Savvy, and like Europe, they're New Style Boutique, and then they got like 3 different names depending on what region they are. Like we're waiting for some of those more casual ones because they were on 3DS, but they haven't made it to the Switch still. So it's definitely a lot of 3DS favorites.
Mm.
And well, I don't think I finished Fire Emblem Echoes, but that's definitely one I liked too. And I'm one of the lucky people with a copy of Fire Emblem where Fates, where it's all on the one cartridge. So
Oh, the collector's edition?
yeah,
Yep, I was lucky enough to get that bad boy too.
technically there's 2 in the household, but I think only one of us has the box, which got damaged because my stuff got moved.
Oh.
Oh
My like
no.
the stuff in there is fine. It's just the box is really like the cardboard on
Yeah,
top.
real beat.
Because I got moved out of a house I was living in when I wasn't there, so other people handling my stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
son of a guns.
yeah. But I've got all the stuff, and then because me, my sibling, and my husband all ordered the copy when that came out, I sold my siblings' copy, so they got money for it. But my husband still has at least just the cartridge for it, so we've got a couple. And that's the other thing. It might more be. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to argue with anyone that wants to go the other route. But if you do want to other buy things, then definitely think about DLC for your games because you're not going to be able to get those
Yeah.
through that way.
Yeah. What's funny? It's I was listening to Retronauts today, and they just happened to. I don't remember. I don't know if the episode came out today or if it was like Monday's episode, but it was all about emulation, like the different emulation options.
Yeah.
So I had to. They didn't mention these ones because obviously they wouldn't have known because it would have been from a little while ago. But I just thought it was funny, funny coincidence that I flip on the latest episode and that's what they're talking about.
So if people are interested in buying, I reckon they should just go for more indies rather than Nintendo themselves. So for me, I definitely think Affordable Space Adventures is a really good. Again, it's not really gonna get. It's probably not gonna move anywhere else
That was a
because
fun game.
it uses the gamepad a lot. So it's one of those ones that was like, yeah, you got to have it on the Wii U. And then 3DS, a silly game I like is The Legend of Kusakari, where you cut grass like in Legend of Zelda, you cut grass, but like that's the whole game is you cutting all the grass in the time limit.
And I remember when I played that game, I was such a dum-dum. I didn't realize you could run. So I would like do this level. I was like, God damn, these are some serious tight times. Like to be able to beat these levels are so tough. And then I realized like after way too many levels, like, oh, you just hold down like the L button and you can run. And I was like, man, these levels are easy.
And then I think, I think Pocket Card Jockey might be Game Freak, but that's like a one a lot of other people recommend. It's just because
hmm
it's like a cute, unique little thing, and they haven't like switched it to something else so far.
I'm surprised they
Um,
haven't sent that to like a mobile game. I feel like
I
they'd
know, I
be easy enough.
just, yeah, that's like because like for me, it's like okay, some of the Wii U ones where it's like you probably it's really not gonna leave the gamepad, or yeah, I did see so yeah, someone like I don't know how if that's what they like their Twitter name, like what they go by, live in need or something. They're just like they need suggestions for stuff that was on the US eShop because like for example, Rusty's baseball seems really cool, but it's not. I can't get it. Well,
Oh,
not
that's a really
currently.
fun game.
Yeah. So there's some things like that where I'm writing a whole list, but I don't know what's not available to me the normal way.
Mm.
So I think that's my main thing is just getting some of these little indies or whatever. I did come across some more interesting games than I was writing the whole massive list I didn't know about, and I'll probably get. And then myself, I had some eShop credit left over because there was like a Switch sale going on, and then I decided I wasn't sure if I wanted some of the games, and then this got announced, so I bought a few. I saw something on Twitter about the Wii U thing of Super Mario Advance 4, which is Super Mario Bros. 3, has the e-reader card levels. So, like,
Mhm.
that has extra content that you couldn't get if you had the regular cartridge version without having a bunch of other hard to collect things. Um, and then when I was writing, I never really looked at anything about the Denpa Men before, but there's 3 of them on the 3DS. And they're like, they were just little cute RPGs. So I got the first one. And then I got Star Tropics 2 because I don't think that's on Switch services yet.
Yeah, and I don't know if it will be. Although I
Yeah,
guess that could be a game
could.
that one of those random games that just crops up. Like, oh, all right, here
Yeah.
you go.
I was like, I just have this like specific. In terms of buying more for myself, I think probably I like how the Wii U has the DS emulation because you could have the top screen be on your TV and the bottom screen be on your gamepad, or you could put them both on the T. So there's maybe some DS games I might get just because it's more fun to play it that way. They actually have the first Star Boutique or Star Savvy on that, which I didn't notice before. I did find a lot of interesting things when I was writing that massive RPG list, though, where I'm like, so there'll still be a few things I might get just because I've already got a huge digital collection, and yeah, like I said, I might just go generally more for the indies approach because I'll still get some of it rather than it being 100% Nintendo.
Yeah.
How about you, Casey? What are your favorite games from back in the day?
Well, I was able to do that little snapshot. So for the 3DS, I had 1,700 hours played,
Whoa.
um, 154 titles. The top one is Animal Crossing New Leaf at 101 hours. Then it was Dragon Quest 7, and then it was Persona Q. Um, and it's funny, they show you like that little graph, right? Like the favorite genres, and it's just like a huge spike to RPG at like
that's
big time.
that's my 3DS one. It's like a tiny bit like not
It looks like
even
a
like the
diamond for
first
me.
thing. Yeah, it's a very funny shaped. It's more like a like like how the spaceships look like when they look triangular and it's pointing towards RPG with like it's like flat on RPG and then it's like the thicker side is going towards adventure a bit.
Yep,
Oh, I
yeah,
bet
yep, yeah.
if I did mine, it would look like an ice pick. Just one big poking thing right at the RPG.
Then on the 3D or the Wii U, I had a 905. Wow, yeah, 905 hours, 71 titles. Smash Bros at 109. Then it was
Dang.
Netflix, and like I said, I don't know. I don't feel like I really ever watched Netflix on there, so that might have been my sister. And then Splatoon, which I was surprised
Yeah.
because I could have sworn those games. Because if Smash is 109, those all must be real close to that because I know I put in like 90 or 95 on Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Um,
Um,
my top Wii U one was Splatoon with 93 hours, and I'm like, God, just just shy of 100 again.
yeah, you can never quite get there, can you?
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I, as far as games I really enjoyed. I mean, I feel like the 3DS just had so many cool like RPGs and stuff. I can even think of like I remember it wasn't even like the greatest game really, but I remember it was one of the earlier like indie games like back when I sort of got back on the Nintendo train was the and now I'm going to mess up the name or forget it, but it was the RPG where you're like the weapon maker and like the heroes would come in and it was sort of like a
um,
rhythm game a little bit.
is
Not
it
yeah.
Weapon Shop the
Yeah,
mass or that was
Asame or
that was
Asame or
literally
something.
one that I only just found out about while I was writing all of this, and I was like, oh, that's one of the ones. I'm like, yeah, I'll get that one
Yeah, it was
later.
cute. It's like you do like little tap to make the weapons and stuff, and then like you almost get like a Twitter feed from the adventurers like talking about their travels out there, and so like you get to sort of see what's going on out there with them while you're sort of in the shop. Not like the most fun game ever, but like a really cute little clever game that, like you said, it's like you're just never gonna see that
And
on the Switch or anything, you
people
know.
were including that in like a list of, let me just go, what was the other one? Just go Weapon Shop. Like of like some level 5 games, like they did some, I guess, like indie type titles. Yeah, the Prolific Creators Guild series, which had Liberation Maiden, Era Porter, Crimson Shroud, Weapon Shop DMS, The Starship Damry, Bugs vs. Tanks, and Attack of the Friday Monsters. So a lot of people recommending Attack of the Friday Monsters. I remember not liking it, which I think was just because I had to grind for the last card and I was getting really mad at it. So,
I've had enough.
yeah.
And then yeah, I mean like the Wii U, like I always sort of joke around about Xenoblade Chronicles X being like the worst game, you know. But it's still a really good game, and yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that one day maybe they bring it over to the Switch or its predecessor, but it would definitely need a whole bunch of you know, retooling to get
Fine
that all
tuning.
right. So
Yeah. Well, and they got that whole like online system that they would have to generate on the Switch, and which anytime you're incorporating online with a Nintendo game, it can go from like incredibly awful to just barely working. So it's
So
hard to say
to
if they
just
could figure
barely
that
what
out.
you're
working.
saying is we need to cover it before September. So.
Yeah, yeah, really. Well, it's funny. I actually, I bought a new copy of Xenoblade X from well, it was EB Games at the time, but GameStop. I was just in there, and I'm like, why is there a sealed copy of Xenoblade X in here? And they're like, I don't know, nobody bought it, I guess. And I'm like, all right, I'll take that bad
When in
boy. And
Rome.
yeah, and I cracked the plastic, played for 20 minutes, and said I can't read any of the text, and never played again. I had the Wii U at the time, was like connected to a TV that was up on the wall, and I'm like, unless I literally stand in front of my television and play this game, I cannot see a thing. So I was like, I'll wait till I go back down to the basement. I just never moved down. And
Maybe some other time. Yep.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
think, yeah, my Wii collection's pretty solid, although there's a game I've gotten rid of and I have to rebuy it, and I don't, it's like I want it, but I don't want to buy it. Because I'm pretty sure I got rid of Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush, or I think it's Rainbow Curse maybe, because I was playing it co-op and it was like terrible, and I was getting extremely frustrated, even though my sister was probably like a toddler at that point. Whereas I think if I played it one player, it's probably good because a lot of people rate it pretty good. So I'm like, oh, I think that's the only one I got to get back. And then yeah, when I was writing my list of all the RPGs, like I have recently picked up one of those harder to get. Yeah, when you're saying, oh, 3DS games get more expensive, I'm like, tell you since it's already been expensive. Like unless Marvelous does like one of their sales again, because they still would do 3DS sales. I'm not going to get Senran Kagura 2 on the 3DS. I'd have to shell out anywhere from 120 to 200 for Project X Zone 2 because there's no
Ooh.
digital of that. It's not on the eShop, so I can't even just like some
Yeah.
games I've given up on, like or it's like at least 100 or something. I'm like Legend Legacy and Stellar Glow. They had like sometimes Atlas did sales too, so I got a bunch of the Atlas games just digitally because otherwise it is
Yeah, they had
too
some
much.
pretty insane sales. It wasn't I don't even think it was that long ago because I remember buying a
Yeah,
bunch of Atlas
so
games.
I imagine maybe some retail, like yeah, maybe at least Marvelous and Atlas will probably maybe do another sale within the year.
Mm.
And then
Yeah, I
yeah,
still want to
because
play those Persona Q games too. Like I can't remember. I may have bought one or both of them and can't remember and and just keep
I
thinking, "Oh, I'll get back to it
remember
eventually."
I really like Persona Q, the first one. I like I said, I played it for at least like I don't know. Like I said, it was at least 80 hours, give or take, something around there. Um, and I remember like thinking back and just being like, man, I played so many hours of that game, but it didn't feel like it at all. And I mean that in a good way, you know, like I remember
Yeah.
playing through it and like just loving it and then just being like, oh, dang, like 80 hours, like Jesus Christmas, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like I bought Q2. I might have either I did buy Q2 or I thought about buying Q2 because I think just recently it was on like a digital sale for really cheap during that whole Atlas thing where they were kind of giving away a bunch of games. I feel like I picked that up, but I'll have to go on the 3DS and check. So, because yeah, it's always been interesting, and having played both Persona 4 now and Persona 5, it'd be even. I'll even know who all the characters are.
yeah, mostly. Um, yeah, one thing that's like really interesting to keep an eye on though is this. Obviously there's a lot of stuff that's digital only because there are a lot of cute eShop games or virtual console, but there are some physical only games because they either just never had a digital version or they just at some point a lot of stuff's been taken off the eShop because I was made a joke about I'll get you a Shaun the Sheep video on your 3DS and they've already taken the Shaun the Sheep episodes off the shop. They probably did that after I bought them the other year. They're like, oh, let's get rid of this. Um, but yeah, it's like so far, I haven't checked every single 3DS game, and then again, maybe on the American eShop they're there, but for me, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, that's not on the eShop. Project X Zone and X Zone 2 are not on the eShop, and Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked, which is like an enhanced port of a DS game, is not on the eShop. The sequel is, but you can get a patch for the game. You just can't can't buy
Yeah,
the game.
gonna say there is a digital summer on there, but it wasn't. Yeah, not the one that you just said.
Yeah, like the second one is, but this one
Yeah.
isn't. I was like, okay.
Those games are good. Those games are tough. Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where where I actually was introduced to Shin Megami Tensei was on 3DS games like Strange Journey, Redux, and yeah, Digital Summoner, and then I had to cut my SMT4 playthrough short for some review games and stuff, but I was enjoying that just recently. So
Yeah, so that's the other, like, just some things have already gone. I think what was it? There was another 3DS game that I thought of that I haven't really played very much of it, just because it's like a long game. It's maybe when I retire from reviewing games, I'll get to it. But I played the demo of, and then I got it. Seventh Dragon 3 Code VFD. I think it's a bit like the Etrian games, but just like different setting. I just love the character classes. Like you have a melee class called God Hand, and they're in a maid or butler outfit because you can customize how they look between a few presets. And then their moves are like depth, so your combos basically. So you move that, and they can do that. They have a healing move, and it's called like chiropractic. So, so like you just imagine that they're punching, they're like smacking the back of their teammates, and then there's like a duelist class, and then they pull out cards with different element attacks. Like that just seems really really fun.
yeah.
So that's
Seems
my
like Paige is going to be busy.
one day.
Yeah, yeah. Put it on the bottom of the backlog.
Yeah. So should I read the million RPGs that are on?
Yeah, give it. Like,
Okay.
there's always going to be some that people haven't heard of. So let's
Yeah. And
give
like
it.
I said, this is based on the Australian eShop, so there could be stuff that's not on here. I just some I forgot about, and then I was like, oh, and I didn't include, I think, the regular Harvest Moons and advance. You can get both the Advance Wars on the Wii U, but I didn't include stuff that was like coming to Switch. I was trying to. This was like RPGs that so far you can only get on the Wii U 3DS or through like the Virtual Console. It's not available on the Switches somehow.
Mhm.
So Wii exclusive for like things that are available both physically and digitally. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is also on 3DS, and you can actually play like with someone on 3DS while you're playing. You can local connect those two systems. Paper Mario Color Splash, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, and Wind Waker HD. So like those specific versions, and of course Xenoblade Chronicles X. That is the the small list of non-virtual console Wii U games. Um,
Not much.
I'm surprised it's that big.
oh, that was I didn't check. Did they put? Yeah, I've written it down. I haven't checked everything. Like they don't have. Do they have Star Tropics 1 on the Switch online service?
Yes, I'm
Ooh.
pretty
Okay,
sure it is in the NSO because I
okay.
played Star Tropics somewhere, and that must have been it.
Because I know it was on the classic, but I don't know if
It's
it was
like I
on the
don't own Star Tropics, so it had to be
like
somewhere.
I know it was on the classic, but I can't remember. So yeah, Star Tropics 2, Super Mario RPG is not, is it? I have to double check some of these. I have to check some of the NES and SNES ones. But I found a bunch of TurboGrafx games because the Wii has TurboGrafx, and I was like, so there's Double Dungeons, which is a 1 to 2 player dungeon RPG. So you're both playing a dungeon RPG at the same time. Dungeon Explorer, which is a 1 to 5 players action RPG, and Necromancer, which is a horror RPG, except it's Japanese text only. So they just ported it without translating it, which maybe that's what they're gonna do for Mother 3. They're just gonna go, here you go and play it, lol.
Enjoy.
And a game called Utopia and Utopia 2. The probably Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber was the sole N64 one. A ton of GBA games because they've got Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Golden Sun Last Age, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Metabots, two different, like some of these games have two different versions, so Metabots has two. Mega Man Battle Chip Challenge, Mega Man Battle Network, Battle Network 2, Battle Network 3, two different versions, Network 4, two different versions, 5, two different versions, and 6, two different versions. Onimusha Tactics, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team, and The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. DS, Virtual Console, which I said it's a really fun thing to do. Advance Wars Dual Strike, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Mystery Dungeon, Blue Rescue Team, and Explorers of Sky, Pokemon Ranger, Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, Pokemon Ranger Gust Shadows of Almia, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. On the Wii U, I've put in Mario Sports Mix because it has Behemoth in it, which makes it an RPG, obviously. Pandora, actually, not Pandora's Tower, it's an RPG, I think it is. Pandora's Tower and Super Paper Mario. And that's, from what I can gather, the RPGs that are on the Wii U and outside, like, the Virtual Console, outside of having them, like, actually physically, but, like, the digital way to get them officially
Yeah. So
is
sorry,
how to
did
get
you
those.
say Final Fantasy Tactics?
Tactics Advance, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we were talking about getting that, and I don't think it was pretty cheap. I think it was like $8 or something.
Yeah, for Australian prices, they usually, like, the games range from, like, 10-ish to 12-ish. And then more when you get to, like, the Wii and stuff, but...
I guess we
Where,
might have to get on that before next year, I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, you get a
Whereas
little bit of time.
A
the
little bit.
3DS list is a bit bigger in terms of, like, stuff that should be available both physically and digitally if you can get it. So Seventh Dragon 3 Code VFD, Bravely Default, Bravely Second, Codename Steam, Concept Revolt, Dragon Ball Fusions, the Dragon Quest 7 remake, the Dragon Quest 8 one, which has got new features, new endings, extra playable characters, Ever Oasis, Etrian Mystery Dungeon, Etrian Odyssey 4, 5, Nexus, Untold, and Untold 2, Fantasy Life, Fire Emblem Awakening, Fire Emblem Echoes, Fire Emblem Fates with the Birth Conquest, and then Revelations DLC, Final Fantasy Explorers, Fossil Fighters Frontier. Some names can also be different in different regions too. So, like American, like it might come up as something else. Heroes of Ruin, Inazuma 11 Go, Inazuma 11 Go 2 Chronostones, which is not on the US store that I know of. Langrissa Reincarnation Tensei, Little Battlers Experience, Lord of Magna Maidenheaven, Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Oh, also if you're in European, yeah, I gotta add Bros to the end of the Mario and Luigi game. Dream Team, Paper Jam, Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minion, which is a remake. Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Junior Story Journey is a remake. Moko Moko Friends, which is a very repetitive game, but it's for kids. So Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Generations, but Generations Ultimate is on Switch. It's just the version with less content. Monster Hunter Stories is actually on phones now, but you can't use the Japanese only single use amiibos. So
It might as well just not exist.
Yeah, not the definitive version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paper Mario Sticker Star, Persona Q, and Persona Q2. Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Ultra Moon Ultra Sun, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology, which is a remake, RPG Maker Fez, Shin Megami Tensei 4 and 4 Apocalypse, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, which is the only English localization. Like, it's an older game, but it's the first time it got an official English thing. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker, which is an enhanced port of the DS game. Strange Journey Redux, so again, it's a redo of a DS game. Stellar Glow, Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, just because it's a different version of the game. Yokai Watch, yeah, like that did have a Switch port, but not in English. And I think a PS4 port actually as well. Yokai Watch 2, Bony Spirits, Fleshy Souls, and Psychic Spectres. Yokai Watch 3, and then digital only. Pokemon Bank, they said Pokemon Bank will become free upon the March 2023 change, and they'll keep that up for a little bit more. Because, like, for example, when we get down to the Virtual Console, that like you can actually put some Pokemon from the older games into Pokemon Bank, and then you can transfer them Pokemon Home. So if you've got your DS in your 3DS, you should be able to use Pokemon Bank, as far as I remember.
So at some point in the future, there's going to be a mass genocide of millions of Pokemon when that bank
just
gets
gone
Yeah.
into the ether.
they're just
Bye-bye.
deleted from the universe.
Those
But
people are going to
because
be so
normally
pissed.
you pay a certain amount a year. So basically, every time I open, I've got to pay because it's been a year since I opened it. But it's going to go free upon the change because obviously they don't take any more transactions. So, and they'll
Yeah.
keep it for at least until I guess you can't actually download anything. So digital, I've got Crimson Shroud, Inazuma 11, which is a DS game, but it's digital on the 3DS shop. Team Kirby Clash Deluxe and the 3 Denpa games, which is Denpa Men That Came by Wave, Denpa 2 Beyond the Waves, Denpa 3 The Rise of Digital, and Weapon Shop D Amas, how you say it. And I've already said which were the physical only RPGs. And then a little bit of 3DS Virtual Console. Legend of the River King and River King 2, Lufia, The Legend Returns, Pokemon Blue, Red, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and the trading card game. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, so the color version, because the one on the Game & Watch is not the color version. Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. And then DS iWare, again, that could vary greatly between the eShops. I was looking at like the Combat of Giants games I never had, but when I was looking at them, like, I think they're kind of RPGs from the look of it. And yeah, they did have DS physicals, but digitally you can get Combat of Giants Dinosaurs, Dragons Bronze Edition, and Mutant Insects, and Dragon Quest Wars. So
You're gonna be
I'm
losing
sure
a
I've
lot of
missed
games.
some. Like I said, there's differences between the regions too, but that is
Yeah.
most of the RPGs you can get on these systems that so far are not on the Switch or like PlayStation, Xbox type. Yeah. Like
Clearly,
some, like I said,
thousands is
some have a DS original version, things like that. But
yeah, thousands of hours of entertainment that are
Yeah.
gonna be going down the drain soon.
Too many hours.
need the time chamber.
Yeah, need some kind of pocket dimension where I can
Plus
just
all those 3DS themes.
Oh, those are the best. I'm still salty
I
that they're
think
not themes for the
actually I've got
Switch.
to find
Yep.
the Nintendo tweaks. I feel like they said something about themes specifically, so I need to find the whole announcement. I'll look for that for you guys.
I had a good laugh about it's like I said, I'm slightly salty that PlayStation gets dunked on for its like shutting down old stuff, and and the old Jim Ryan or whatever get into trouble because like who wants to play old games or whatever. And then now with like Nintendo shutting down 3DS and Wii U, and then them coming out with like, well, there's the question of the preservation of games and having access to all these games, and then Nintendo basically responding with like, well,
They
that's what
they
that's what the
deleted the
online service.
comment.
Yeah, there's like that's what the online service is for, and you get what you get. And it's like, come on, like how
Yeah,
is
I
this?
mean
How is
that's the
this
way of
any?
the world, right? The
Yeah,
subscription model.
this is so like just it's to me it's like it's on par with like the Jim Ryan, like nobody wants to play old games, like it's such a very similar attitude, and it's so weird that it's coming from Nintendo, who must know that their
They
fans are.
live off selling old games to
Yes,
us.
I
It's the
don't
whole
understand
brand.
what's going on at the. It's like Nintendo, now that the Switch is like over 100 million sold. The dollar bills are clouding the judgment of these guys working at Nintendo or something. They're high off the adrenaline of counting their money. I guess I don't know what's going
They
on
got
in
some of that Bobby Kotick stuff,
there. Yeah, that's right.
He passed along the goods.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't.
yeah. So what they said was not just like obviously games and DLC, but obviously any other purchases you go through like other apps. So like Street Pass, Me Plaza, Theme Shop, and Nintendo Badge Arcade will you can't buy anything from them. Although that was like I try not to do Badge Arcade too much, but I think after a while they stopped making new ones, so I guess it is technically possible to complete the badge set if you
Yeah.
want to.
That game was fun, but it could be dangerous.
Ooh, yeah, very dangerous.
I think Nintendo is
Sorry.
probably going to have to shut down the rewards program now, because I'm pretty sure that the Switch rewards are still coming soon.
Yeah, let me just go to it.
I'm still sitting on
Re-
a mountain
no,
of
wrong one.
silver coins or
I
whatever they
don't have
are,
too many silver
gold
coins because
points
we
or
have the
whatever.
physical rewards. So I'm just
The
mad
good
that they
old
didn't
days.
they didn't introduce them until I lost a ton of them because of like the timeout.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yeah, because it's on Australian one, Animal Crossing Power Camp reward, like 3 mobile games rewards, smart device slash PC rewards, the 3DS slash Wii U software digital content, or my Nintendo store goods. And the 3DS and Wii U software one is a lot empty. It's pretty much Flip Note Studio and Twilight Princess Picross, and then a bunch of 3DS themes.
I also had to laugh. So I got the birthday email from Nintendo where it's like, click on this to get your present, and I'm like, okay. So I
You're
click on it.
30% off.
No, it wasn't even that. It was 10% off a full price game,
What
or you can
you
have
get
one of these,
discounts?
or you can have one of these wonderful wallpapers for your cell phone. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, Nintendo.
Yeah,
You
Buggers.
I could have sworn it was 30%, but maybe it's 20. I don't know. Maybe they don't like Canadians as much.
you
Yeah,
guys get discount. We just get silver
wallpaper.
coins. We just get silver coins.
I don't think I got silver coins. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm almost positive it was like 10% off any full price game. Probably wasn't even a Switch game. It was probably a Wii U or 3DS game, and then yeah, just and then there was like probably 5 wallpapers of just like, it was like a general like Link, Mario, Kirby, and it's like I could get this off the internet. Like I don't
Well, I
I
was
don't
gonna say you
understand how
type
this.
in Nintendo Mario wallpaper and it's the first hit.
Yeah,
So here you go.
yep.
You don't even
So
need to be your birthday to download this.
that's right. Just need to be bored and have some time on my hands, and I can have a Mario background on my phone. Like, oh man.
I still love that they had the question about the obligation to preserve its classic games on their own FAQ, and then they deleted it the
Yeah.
same day. Oh.
Somebody was watching that ratio.
Because it was the
Quick.
question. They wrote it themselves. They wrote, once it is no longer possible to purchase this software, many classic games will cease to be available for purchase. Will you make them available in some other way? If not, why? Don't you have an obligation to preserve classic games by continually making them available? And then they just say, across our Nintendo Switch Online membership, over 130 classic games are currently available in growing
Yeah.
libraries and the enhanced new features.
Growing by one every 6 months.
We
Slowly
think
but surely.
we think this is an effective way to make classic content easily available to a broad range of players. Within these libraries, new and long-time players can blah 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 blah. We have no plans to offer content the other way. But like I said, Wii has TurboGrafx, Wii has DS, Wii has Wii. None of the Switch
We
Online
has
apps
we.
are any of those. They have GBA. There's no GBA or Game Boy for 3D. There's entire sections of Virtual Console that they're just, unless they decide to add more, are not even going to be considered.
I'd be shocked if, like, I think this drip feed is pretty much it until whatever the next hardware is. Like, they might come out with new systems or something. Like, maybe there'll be a GameCube or a GBA or something. But I can't imagine that the
The
service
ultra
itself is gonna.
premium ultimate
Yeah,
membership,
it'll just be new
$100 a
expansion
year.
packs. It's like, yeah, exactly. It'll probably be like $40 a month by the time they're like, okay, well, if you want the N64, that's the expansion pack, and then there's a second expansion pack and a DLC ultimate expansion pack for all these other ones.
And then they're gonna be like, if you want to play Salmon Run in Splatoon 3, you just need to be a member of the
Yeah,
online, and then you can play it anytime you want.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's restricted to 1 hour a day when we decide.
yeah. That's right. You have to pay, and it'll be inside the expansion pack. It's like you have to have the online service and the expansion pack, and you have to play between the hours of 10:30 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. and
Good old
um,
Nintendo. But
yeah.
that's only, you can only play with your friends after you clear a certain amount of levels with random people.
No, I was gonna say you can't even play with your friends. You have to all like hope that you end up in the same.
Oh,
You all
well, that
have to
was
like
so
type in an
funny
8-digit room to try to get in the same room together.
when
Isn't that
Splatoon
isn't that
2
what you do?
came out. You had to
Pretty
get
much.
like S rank to be able to join with your friends, and I just happened to get on like a lucky string, so it took me like no time. It took me like I won a couple matches in a row, got S rank, it was sweet. But Perry kept getting stuck with like bad teams, and it took him like hours to get to the point where we could play together. And I remember he was so angry. And I was like,
It is
dude, I
just
did
like,
that in like half hour, man. That was easy.
and why are you doing that in a sequel? Like, I could see if it was like a brand new IP, and they're like, no, we need to force people to play it for a bit so they at least know what's going on. But like, this is a sequel. Everyone who was playing it probably played the first one anyway. So
And really, like, it was a sequel, but it was the same game, you know?
yeah, yeah, just with
Pretty
like different
much.
arenas, basically. Yeah. Casey, I'm still interested in Lost Ark, so maybe we should
Yeah.
transition to that, and you can let us know how your experience was with playing that one.
Yeah, yeah. So Lost Ark is a free-to-play MMO. It is a Korean MMO. So it's been out over in Korea and Russia, actually, for some reason. Those two areas where they've been out. So it's been out for a few years now. And I played a very tiny little bit of the beta when it was coming out this way, and then it just had its big launch last week. And essentially, so when I think of an MMO, and Paige is probably going to think I'm similar, and I guess David too, with your experience with Final Fantasy. Like, I always think of it's called like the tab target MMOs, right, where it's like you target your enemy, like there's going to be like just damage that's unavoidable, and then you use your spells, and then there'll be like big abilities that you'll have to dodge out of the way. But generally speaking, like, you're always going to be taking damage from the other enemy as long as you're within range, and like there's no way to completely negate that. But this, it well, not only is it, again, where Final Fantasy and WoW and games like that, you're sort of moving around your keyboard, ASDW, you're hitting your spells on the one through zero keys and all that stuff. This actually plays more like Diablo.
um, That's what I was gonna say. My husband played a little bit, and he said it's basically Diablo if it was a Korean MMO, because Korean MMO seem to have a specific style too.
Yeah, nice and grindy. Yeah, so it definitely plays a lot like Diablo. Uh, it's in that isometric view. You're going to be pointing and like clicking to get your character to run. And there's like an auto button, like an auto run button. So you'll click them in that direction, and they'll just keep trotting along. But yeah, so it's very different again, like from WoW and stuff. You get like the tab target. Is just I've always associated MMOs with that style of gameplay. So to have like an MMO, you know, that plays like Diablo, it takes a little bit of getting your head around. You have a bunch of abilities. You could have 8 on your main bar there, and there's a whole bunch of abilities, so you could switch them out pretty easily. But the idea is like you really want to try and combo, and there's you hit space bar to dodge, so like you can avoid a lot of damage, and it's similar to WoW bosses where like, oh, there'll be the ring on the floor, right? Like, and it's like, oh crap, I got to get out of there, otherwise I'm going to get hit with the ability. So it's still sort of similar to that, but like you can sort of move around and avoid enemies, and you're going to be chugging pots in this game, potions like crazy. Like there's a short cooldown, but you have so many of them. It's just sort of part of the play, where in Final Fantasy or WoW, maybe you use a potion and there's like a 2-minute cooldown where you can't use it again for a little bit of time. So again, a little bit more fast paced. And what's, I'd say, the most interesting, again, coming from the WoWs and the Final Fantasy of the world, you have set roles. You've got a tank, you got a healer, you got DPS. This game, there are no set roles, so there's no tank, there's no healers. There are a few classes that err on the side of support, so they'll have buffs, and they'll actually have like the paladin and the bard class actually have some heals, but it's not like your standard, oh, I'm going to really be pumping heals and healing this one tank who's taking all the damage, like they're it doesn't play like that. Now, I'm not at end game, so I haven't experienced any of the bigger dungeons or raids yet, to really see how that works at a high end level. The dungeons that I've been playing through leveling, you could actually go in there solo and do it. But I've done a few with people too, and yeah, it's just mostly everyone's just sort of doing their own thing together, just beating the crap out of these guys. And I haven't really encountered any super hard difficult boss, where like I feel like, man, I need like a support class to be healing me or something. But apparently the support classes are very in high demand when it comes to the end level stuff. But as far as the leveling goes, um, I haven't really honestly even been paying attention to the story that much. Like the idea, I guess, it's like you're looking for the arc. It's sort of like a religious thing. And you're in this sort of area that's uncharted. So you have like your adventure log, and as you go through different areas, like you're sort of checking out, checking boxes. You're finding like little seeds and this and that to sort of flesh out that adventure book, which in turn gives you experience and stuff. The game has like tons and tons and tons of different like systems, so it's sort of confusing. Like I'm still leveling up right now, so a lot of it is like, whoa, that seems pretty complex, and like you sort of scratch the surface a little bit of it. I'm sure as I get to the higher levels and those things become more important, it'll be I'll see how that all comes together. Like for instance, one thing is you do gain, you could find cards and you could build decks. And it's like 6 cards is a deck, and like you put certain cards together and they link together, and then they'll give you like a passive bonus. So like one of my decks right now, it's like 4% extra health. I take like less damage from ground attacks and some other perk, and it's just sort of passive. And I guess depending on the situation, and of course what cards you have available, you'll be able to switch it around, to tailor it, to certain situations. And then I'm trying to think also, there's like a roster level. So you have your character level. For some reason, it's weird. You start at level 10. I don't know why. They just start you off at level 10, and you level up to 50. is like the soft cap where you unlock all the end game stuff, and then I guess you level up to 60, but like I guess the level 50 to 60 isn't really important. I don't know. From what I understand, it takes a long time, and I think it's just sort of like the icing on the cake, so you're still sort of progressing, when you've hit the top level. Um, but you get this roster bonus or roster level, and those give you more passive abilities. So as you level up that, you get 5% extra vitality to all your characters. So now any character you make after that will get that roster bonus, making them stronger, as they level up. And in fact, you actually, when you hit level cap, they give you 2 free boosts to boost 2 other characters to level cap. And the reason they do this, and again, I'm not there yet, so this is all just sort of from researching and just talking to some people about things. I don't have firsthand experience, but when you get to level cap, you'll like get this armor set, and then you need to sort of farm out these different materials to upgrade them. And by doing the raids and the high end dungeons, you get like different materials, and then you can craft or upgrade your items. Now, there is a certain cap on that per day that you can earn, right? But the idea is then you can go in your alts and like get those materials on them, and you can actually send a portion of the materials from that character to your main, so you can funnel. So like the game's encouraging you to continue playing other characters to sort of funnel to your main character. So that's where, again, like Korean MMOs are typically pretty grindy. So I think when you get to the end level, it can get definitely like, ooh, you're going to have to put in some grind here. Now, like from what I gather and so far would be my experience, that's not necessarily a bad thing because combat just feels really good. Um, you know, you combine the different abilities together to sort of, and they synergies work together. As you level up, you you get these abilities, but then you also get skill points to buff those abilities. There's like a 3-level tree, and I think it goes further, but like, oh, now I can change it where this ability will add extra damage, or oh, this one's like a volcano, and it now adds like an extra few pulses of the tornado, the volcano doing extra damage. So again, just to sort of customize your different abilities. So it feels like there's a lot of customization to sort of mess around with different play styles. And again, I feel like I'm really pretty brushing the surface, kind of business at this point in time. But yeah, I mean, the game's super fun. It looks really nice, and yeah, I'm having fun so far. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be something I get to the end and like I find out like, oh, it is way too grindy. A lot of people ask like, oh, is the game pay to win? Because I guess the game's free to play, and I bought the founders pack, which let you play a little bit early. It was like $15, and like they let you play early, and they gave you a few things. There's like this aura you can essentially you purchase, and to me it sort of seems like, hey, this is like the if I were to pay a subscription fee, and it like reduces some timers on things, and like it gives you other little perks. Again, I don't know if it's actually worth it. I mean, I bought the founders pack, so I'm using it now. I guess when it runs out after 30 days, I'll have a better
This game sucks
knowledge.
now.
Yeah. What the heck? But
um,
oh yeah, if you have any questions.
my husband was saying that Final Fantasy 14 spoiled him because he started playing this and he started playing the Old Republic, and it's like, oh, you have to have multiple characters to access all the content or all the classes, and it's like, can't just switch between them on the one person. So I thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, that's really a big thing that it has over that. And I think that's also the same thing. Like, we're both looking into playing the Old Republic. They announced some new stuff, which apparently is only like 2 hours worth of content anyway. But from what I've watched, you can play through most of that free to play. Like, there's some minor inconveniences, but you can still totally get through like story content like that. Because they actually do a nice thing. Your level cap is free to play, but if you're playing with high level people, like a high level thing, your level gets synced up to them. So I thought
Oh,
that's
that's
really,
cool. So you
yeah,
keep keep the groups together. Yeah, this like I said, yeah, it's interesting that because I remember at first, I'm like, it's weird that they give you 2 free character boosts when you hit level 50. But I guess, again, with the whole idea that you have like a roster level, it's like you're not necessarily just leveling your character. It's like this is like, yeah, your whole team, like your account a level almost. So it is weird. But like I said, it's just sort of so different. You get like a mount right away, where like, I guess in Final Fantasy you get a mount pretty quick, but like in Warcraft, like back in the day, you used to really have to go a long time without getting a mount, and then it's sort of like, ooh, I get rewarded like to move around fast now. This game, there's like fast travel pretty easily. See, like fast travel, technically, I guess you have to pay a small fee every time you do it. If you have like that aura, it's for free. So like little things like that. Now, again, I haven't got to the end level here, but I know, or if I've been hearing, I guess, that the materials you need to upgrade your gear, that's where it like they sort of incentivize paying, because I guess, there's a cap on each one. So obviously you could do the math at this point or find out, hey, it's going
Yeah.
to take me X amount of weeks to get these items upgraded, where I guess you could buy the crystals and the materials and then like, hey, I could get to that high power level quicker because like, I guess the whole debate with free pay to win, excuse me, right, is like, what is pay to win? Is it I could pay and I could become stronger than someone who doesn't pay, or
Mm.
is it
It's
like
supposed to
is
be
it
like advantages and like PvP kind of stuff, or you can like that
see
should be like the actual definition is like, yeah, that if you pay, you've got a massive advantage against, in a way that would affect other players and not just
Yeah, see, that's my
yeah.
sort of my definition too. So like, because then theoretically, this game, using that definition, wouldn't be pay to win, right? Because it's like you could pay to get to a certain power level quicker, but like you can't pay the money and then like just, oh, like I didn't pay money. There's 0% chance I can get to her power level, versus like, so I don't think that's present in Lost Ark,
Yeah.
but it is present in the sense that, hey, I could pay to get these materials and I can get my gear better than yours faster. Like, I don't think there's like, again, I don't think there it breaches a cap where like all of a sudden like, I'm paying and now you can't even get to my level without paying. It's just a matter of like how quick you get there. So and everyone sort of has pay to win, sort of differently, or at least that's the arguments I always see. It's like everyone's arguing from like a point of a different definition, so it's like everyone's like, no, you're a dumb idiot, like of course it's pay to win, it's like, well, if you're using that definition, of course it is, but it is what it is. I don't, for right now, I'm enjoying the game. I'm leveling up. The leveling is like a lot of like, oh, sort of go through A to B, right? Like going to different spots, killing some enemies. The best part of leveling, I think, are the dungeons. They're really cool. They're well designed. They look awesome. And like you could toggle between a regular hard mode when you go in, and then the hard will give you some extra, better gear. And yeah, so far, like it's always a joy when like you see a dungeon on the map and it's like, oh baby, we're gonna get over there. Like it's gonna be cool. It's gonna look awesome. And like that's what keeps you going. Like, oh, get to that next dungeon, and then from what I hear, the end game gets really really hard. So I'm excited to sort of see what that's all about. But yeah, it's totally free to play. Right now, you just go download on Steam and give it a go. Like I said, it gets right into the action with Diablo style. I feel like sometimes with MMOs, you start out with like one ability or two abilities, right? And then it's like, oh, like all right, I'm 5 hours in now. I'm starting to get more like, oh, that the rotation is starting to make sense, right? Or like, oh, the flow starts to feel better now when I have another ability that I don't have to wait for this other ability,
Yeah.
Lost Ark really sort of throws you right in there. Like they give you a bunch of abilities right off the bat, and like you can just go out there swinging, So I think it's easy to jump into, and within an hour or two, you might know like, hey, this is a game I might want to just keep playing, or hey, this isn't for me.
It seems like they assume that you played a video game before in this for this to give you a few. start you off that way.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no, it's definitely could be a little daunting with like a lot of stuff, and like I said, they prey on that dopamine. It's like you're getting rewards all over the place. It's like, oh, I got my daily login bonus. Like, here's a cool chest. Open it up, and there's a bunch of stuff in there. Like, oh, okay, you donated to your guild. Here's a bunch of stuff. Oh, and it's just like always sort of like things, and you're getting things, and you're leveling up, and it like I said, it's sort of like, whoa, what's going on? But as you start to play a little bit more, it's like, oh, okay, I sort of I see what's going on here, and there is a lot to sort of digest, but it all sort of seems to be working together pretty good, and like I said, it's been pretty popular in Korea and Russia, and it's one of those things where New World came out, and like people are stoked about it, and then it sort of like fell off the edge of the
yes,
world.
I say, I wonder what happened because that came out, and yeah, there was a whole lot of excitement for it, and then it kind of just flopped, and then like
There were
haven't heard
tons
anything
of
about it.
bugs. Yeah,
Yeah,
like honestly, they handled it really, really rough, and yeah, like there were like millions of players playing that game, or over a million players in the beginning, and like now I think there's like 30 or 50,000 people playing.
oh,
Like yeah, they took a
that's rough.
huge hit, and like I've seen some dev interviews, and they're working to get it better. But yeah, the good thing with this game is it has a proven track record, right? Like it's got a big strong fan base, and they've got literally like years of content already done. So it's
Yeah,
one of those things you won't be like expecting a content drought, because it's all there. So I'm sure they have like a real nice sort of paced timeline of content release. So if you get into it, I think there's going to be plenty of reasons to stick around.
yeah,
Oh, well, I reckon, if I had the personality to make it my job, I would probably play MMOs a lot more. Otherwise, like, yeah, I just sort of like say Final Fantasy. I take a break and then maybe I can play. Oh, I take a break and then maybe I can play a different one.
Yeah, like I said, this is
Oh,
I don't know. I would be interested to see if you would jive with this, because like you said, it's like it's not, and it doesn't feel like an MMO, but then like it is, and you those elements are definitely there. It's just in such a different wrapping than I'm used to.
yeah. If it plays like Diablo, I can see it. Like that might be part of the kind of allure of it. I think too is that with Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft, like they have that same feeling, and I don't know if the New World kind of plays the same way or not, but I can see where you have just people might just be ready for that different experience with an MMO, like still be into MMOs, but then see like, oh well, this one plays like this. Uh,
Hmm.
this one's different, so all of a sudden it's kind of like a breath of fresh air or just a change of pace or something. Just where you're still getting kind of like the community of, you're playing with other people and stuff, so you still have that community feeling, and like you said, opening the chests and the daily drops and all that stuff. So yeah, I could it makes sense why that people would be ready for something like this, especially if like you're sitting in a Final Fantasy 14 queue with like 5,000 people
you just
still in front
you
of
just
you.
have like 6 different MMOs open for the different.
That's right.
You got
Well,
your
yeah,
Final Fantasy one. You got old school RuneScape on your mobile. You've got the second monitors. Got
yeah. There was a queue when I logged in on um it was Saturday. It was a 26,000 person queue. But that sounds really it sounds crazy, right? It was over in like 20 minutes. It wasn't too bad. But that was also launch weekend.
Yeah.
They like locked up some servers, like, and they were like, you can't make any new people here, and then like I think they sort of solidified like everything, because now every time I log on, there's no queue, and you can make characters in all the servers, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I would actually, David, you should try this game. That I mean, everyone should. I think, like I said,
Yeah.
it's free to play, so it's super easy to get in there. But yeah, like I said, the combat just feels good.
Yeah, I'll have to get on there. Like I remember it was pretty fun. Like if it's got that Diablo feel, like we played Diablo. I guess it was Diablo 3 on the Switch, and had some like raids on that for we didn't play it a ton, but even then, like the little bit we did play was pretty fun. So
Yeah,
and
and then
yeah,
one last thing, I guess, to say again, just to sort of differentiate from you know like a Final Fantasy or Warcraft, those fights are super scripted, right? Like when you get into raids and bosses, it's like they have their set mechanics, and yeah, a lot of them even have like a set pathing, right? Like of course it varies, depending with each thing, but more or less like you learn a fight and you sort of know it. It seems like this, like obviously enemies have certain paths, but it just seems like it's a lot more random and something where it's like, hey, I need to really play more off um, sort of reaction, right? Like I'm reacting to what's going on, and a lot of like I know with Warcraft, especially with WoW, is like a lot of it's preparation of knowing what the fight's going to do. Like you can
yeah.
learn the fight and just sort of like anticipate and learn where to go. Where this seems more like it's going to be like, hey, a little more action oriented. I'm on the fly here, sort of reacting to what's going on. And there is apparently like a big robust PvP scene as well. But again, I haven't really messed with all that just yet.
Yeah, I know with like Final Fantasy 14, a lot of the time, like I played as the DPS, so the bulk of my job was just stand beside the enemy and hack them to death. And then if
David
there was
was a
like
pumper.
yeah, if there was a circle under your feet, then you should get out of the way for a sec. But other
Yep.
than that, I didn't feel like a whole lot of thought had to go into what I was doing. It was basically like, okay, hit this button and this button, wait for it to recharge, hit that button again. Oh, there, I got my special. I'm going to use that now. Like it's yeah, there.
Yeah,
It,
it feels very scripted, but
yeah,
that's good. Like I like that kind of gameplay because you can master it, and then you know what's going on. But yeah, that's why it's also I get into that like, oh, with Lost Ark, like, oh, just attack, all out attack, and it's like no, you got to sort of pay attention and you
yeah,
have to move. You can't eat all this.
yeah. No, it sounds pretty neat. Like you said, if it's free, I mean, why not download it, give it a shot, see how it goes. I'm sure be able to catch you on there one day, and we can go hack some people.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. We're getting late. It's already we're
Yeah,
about
it's a beefy boy.
an hour and a quarter in. Maybe I'll save the Monarch track for later. I know. I guess what I'll say is, for uh, the Thirsty Mage website, I reviewed Monarch, which is the latest game from NIS America, and contractually obligated to review,
The
obviously.
Persona
And
spinoff, right?
yeah, well, that's certainly what the marketing wants you to believe. Like it's very much like if you look at the website, or if you see trailers and stuff, it's always talking about showing those kind of parallels where it's and I mean the parallels are there when you look at the formula. I joked in the review, it's like, okay, so basically you're a high school student who travels to the other world or metaverse via a cell phone application, and you have a persona or ego, as they call it in this game, that provides you with power and able to fight enemies. And there's like so many things, like the phantom thieves are just called pack bearers, and it's they're the first few hours it's kind of daunting, because it's like, oh man, this is so it's so ripping off Persona. It's not even like, it's like almost beat for beat the exact same. But when you get past the setup and you start to actually get into the gameplay and stuff, it is a lot different. Like in Persona, there's so much of the relationship mechanic, and it's so story driven and stuff when you're not fighting. And but it's completely different in Monarch, because it's not, the dungeons aren't just walking around and fighting enemies and building up your relationships. Like it's more of puzzle based, horror based almost. Like they put you in this area where um there's students, like insane students, their minds have kind of been poisoned by this mist, so they're like zombies almost. And so you're kind of trying to dodge the students because they can knock you out, and at the same time you're trying to find clues to open pathways into to the other world to take away the power of the enemies or whatever. And
How did your clue finding go?
sorry.
How did your clue finding go?
Oh man, the one thing I'll say about this is that have a support system. Like have some friends that are playing this game or something because
You want
oh
to use
man,
your one call to a friend?
yeah,
Monarchs
like
Anonymous.
yeah, at least in this day and age, though. I mean, whoever's making the guides for these things are going to clean up on the clicks. I tell you, there's going to be ad revenue for days because so many people are going to be like, "Why? What is the solution to this?" I have no idea. You know, obviously, having review like when you're reviewing the game, these don't exist, so you're kind of struggling yourself. So I had like this. I think there's at least 5 of us that were reviewing the game that were all like, one of us would hit a wall and then be like, okay, who got past this part? And it's like, okay, I got past this part. And then the person that, solved it, they'll hit a wall and they're like, okay, everyone needs to catch up because I don't know how to get past this part. And then, somebody catches up and they figure it out and then we keep going. So, I mean, some of the puzzles were pretty difficult to figure out, like trying to find these small details and weird spots and stuff. And but then when you actually, so once that exploration phase is done and you solve the puzzle that unlocks the door to get to the other world, and then you start fighting the enemies, it's all kind of in a kind of like a Fire Emblem or even kind of Trails of Cold Steel kind of battle where there's like a great big battlefield with environmental factors and stuff. And each ally and each enemy, there's like a phase where everybody gets one turn. And you can actually defer your turn to other members of your party, but then there's like there's it can harm you at the same time. Like there's a cost to doing that and stuff. And so early on, the combat doesn't feel great because you have so few. Like it's basically like walk up to an enemy and slash them. Like there's not a whole lot to it. But once you start unlocking all these different powers, it gets pretty insane. Like that you can do different kinds of magic that'll attack like one enemy or multiple enemies. And then the main hero has this way of chaining all of the allies together so that they can share their powers. So if you get someone who, like, if you buff someone up, then you can connect everyone together and they all get the buffs, and then they all can use each other's attacks. And so there's like this one particular spot where I was having trouble, and I'm like, all right, what I'm gonna do is the solution was that like I had a party of 6, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let the one person have like all 6 turns. I'm gonna buff them up to the max, and then I'm going to um it's called resonate, so you connect them all together. So then when the next round happened, they were all in this special status with these huge buffs, and they just it just crushed everyone in the vicinity. And so it
Demolished
was,
them.
yeah, just demolished because they're all in this special phase or whatever that gave them all like this extra power and stuff. So it's like, and there's so many ways to win battles. Like you can manipulate the combat system so much. And so yeah, it was really fun. But it's one of the things is it was very like the ratings for these games, like it could be, I saw a rating as low as 4 out of 10, and I saw someone give it 10 out of 10. I was at 9 out of 10 because I really got into the combat. And there's so many JRPGs that are just too easy. Like when you play a lot, you kind of get used to like, okay, I've seen this before, so it's not that difficult. um this was the first time that it presented a real challenge. So it was kind of just the fact that it was so hard was unique. So I was really digging it because it's like usually the biggest challenges I've had lately are playing like Soulsborne games, and they're not fun challenging though like Soulsborne games. And a lot of the time are just like, oh,
Beat your
I
head
hate
against
this.
the
Like
wall.
I want to throw my controller at the television right now. Challenging, like this is so frustrating. um but this one was more fun, like, you know trying to figure, it's like doing a puzzle, like, you know it's just kind of that dopamine hit of like, oh, I solved it, like this feels so awesome, like I'm so smart, I figured it out. And then yeah, figuring out the combat, just like playing around with that is it's just amazing. So I was really high on it. I can see where I know some of the complaints were like you have to grind in certain battle. There's certain battles that are really tough, so you have to do grinding to kind of level up your people, um, which is, I don't know, it's kind of true if you're skipping battles. Like the thing with it is that when you're doing exploration, there's optional battles kind of during the horror phase that you could do before the real battle. And it's like if you're skipping that, if you're not actually doing any of those, then you're going to be under leveled when you actually get to the boss. So it's like optional in the sense of like there's a bunch on a list that you could choose from, but you should do something because you're not going to be leveled enough. So I could see like to one person that might be grinding, but to me it's like, well, that's just the gameplay. Like they're just giving you a choice of like which
Yeah, how
arena
you
do you
want to
want to
go
fight
about
in.
it.
Like you should fight something, but you get to choose where you want to go. Like, do you want the harder one? Do you want the easier one? Do something, like you gotta build up your
Don't be a
people.
lazy turd.
That's right. Like you don't get to skip all the battles and then like take on the boss and win. Like that's not how things work. And it does have like a casual mode, which I put in quotations because it really just reduces the amount of damage that you take by I think like 20 or 30%. So it's like if you're getting wrecked, that's not helping you at all. So it's not exactly casual. Definitely a tough game, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Had a good time with it. I had a better time with it than I thought I would, especially early on, because I was really worried it was just going to be a Persona clone, but it ended up being a lot more.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
you early on seemed way less enthused.
Yeah, I
I
was not enthused when I got that code. I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this one, but I'm happy that I enjoyed it in the end.
Yeah, I've tried the demo and I'm just like, oh, there's too much talking right now. Like,
Yeah,
which it tends to be, but like it's the same. Like, I was doing the triangle strategy, the newest demo last night, and I'm like, I just want to fight. I just want to
Yeah.
fight. Go away.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like when I would say in my gameplay, it's probably for me it was probably 25% exploration and talking and 75% in a battle. So it's mostly battling, uh, in my opinion. Like that's where I'm just focusing. Like I'm so focused on the battles that maybe it's not the same for other people's. But I can totally see how the experience would vary greatly from one person to the next because it really depends on your taste and how you actually play the game because there's a lot of different ways to play.
yeah. Well, if you're looking for a nice badly game page, Lost
Yeah.
Ark.
How about you, Paige? Do you have any games you're allowed to talk about that you're playing now, or are they all under wraps?
When does this episode come out? That'll be the answer to that
Oh,
question. Whether I
the
can.
Sunday in like
So
a few days.
this
Yeah,
coming one. Okay,
yeah.
well I can't. No, I don't have anything to. Um, that I can think of off the top. Yeah, like I said, I didn't even finish the triangle strategy gem because I was starting to play last night. I'm just like, I'm falling asleep with the reading. So, and like that new one is from the start of the game, so it's a bit more boring because as last I remember,
Doing the
the
intros.
previous demo was like they put it partway through so that you had the conviction, the battle, a couple of
Yeah.
different battles to do. Stakes were already like sort of high, whereas like those characters saying things like certain things, and I'm like, because like you already know something that happens not long after that. He's like, okay, sure. Um, and you could play around, like you have a lot more characters. Like, whereas this is really basic gameplay. It was like, what I was saying in the original one, I could do so much more because I had the whole team of mages and everything.
Hmm.
But it is good to have demos that take you from the start, and then you can continue the game when it comes out. You don't have to redo the whole
So
thing.
smart. Super smart.
Yeah.
Um, but I think yeah, because I can't talk about one game I'm reviewing yet, because that's not for another week. And I don't really think I've been playing anything else that I can think of. Like, I haven't made
Well,
much. Yeah, I
I
had I
was
had
gonna
Really?
say,
a bit
good
of
thing
I
we
had a
don't.
bit of a gaming break. I did do my Valentine's video, and that was about about it. Or I forgot about like 5 different games that I recorded footage for because I deleting the list and stuff.
Well, I was gonna say at least we're not hurting for content on this episode.
No.
No, I think we'll be pretty good for a little while now with Triangle Strategy coming up and Stranger Paradise. I'm looking forward to that one.
And Elden Ring comes out soon too, right?
Yeah, that comes out. That's like 2 weeks from now, I think.
I
I
Not
just got
even.
a
think
message.
maybe next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week I think. Yeah, my husband's like, no, Elden Ring comes out right as I start a block of 12-hour shifts. It's like,
Oh.
Oh no.
so I start playing the game when he's not there to mess with it now. I'll use all the other PS5 games I've got to cover while he's at work. That's my opportunity.
He's gonna have to get Game Pass on his phone and stream it from work.
Yeah, no, with Australian internet. I don't.
Oh, it's too bad. I imagine it costs a few bucks too. It's not like the unlimited. I think down in America, you get your unlimited internet. You could do that, but probably nowhere
Oh
else.
yeah.
We have unlimited internet for home, not for. I don't know if any phone plans have unlimited data though.
I got unlimited data.
We just got unlimited data in
That's why
Canada.
my mom's considering moving to America. So
Yeah,
that's
we just got it in Canada, but it's only so the way that the unlimited works is that you get like the 5G speeds for the first 5 GB, and then everything after that goes down to dial-up. So it's basically like you get 5 GB, and then anything after that is basically just you get to read your emails, and that's about it.
Yeah, I just stream YouTube literally all day, pretty much. I wonder if I'll see if I can find my usage before we wrap the show up.
Yeah, your Android phone needs one of those memories graphics so that we can find out how much which apps are getting all the usage.
Yeah, definitely YouTube.
Cool. Oh man, it's been a long while since we've had a 90-minute episode, so we went the distance this time.
All we needed it was the death of the Wii U and 3DS eShops.
yep. Rest in
Content for
peace.
days.
Content for days.
Let's see. So from February 1st to the 28th this month, but really I guess it's the 16th as of recording. I've got 14.11 gigabytes of mobile data used.
So,
Last month was 44.
Oh man.
Good old unlimited.
So
We need
yeah.
some of those American satellites up here. Get us some
You just
data.
got to move down south, David.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
No, it's not.
So yeah. Pick up indies, get affordable space adventures, disconnect your consoles for everything else.
A lot of indies are gonna be making some bank, probably more bank than they got when the Wii U was running. So good for them. Hopefully we can get some money into their pockets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that'll do it for this week. Yeah, I want to thank Paige and Casey. Paige for doing all the hard work for getting that
Yep.
list for us.
That's a few hours of work. I'm gonna have to charge you that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'll just email me the bill. I'm sure I'll get around to it.
And that'll be this much an eShop card so that I
Yeah,
can buy these games.
I'll get you that eShop card by April 2023.
Yeah. Yeah, here's a $2,000 eShop card.
Yeah.
Expired.
Cool. Well, yeah, I want to thank everyone for listening, and yeah, I guess we'll have some Triangle Strategy coming up, or the next episode actually is going to be our Talk Nintendo 150th extravaganza of the crossover.
I was thinking that exact word, extravaganza, by the way.
Extravaganza, which I have to actually do the homework on that one for and
Yeah.
actually play the game.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing. It's not a long
Short and
game, you
sweet.
know?
Yeah. No,
which
Yep.
is it's not something us RPG people are accustomed to. So it's a nice
No.
change of pace.
yeah.
I'm sure I can at least triple the length by incompetency. So
Well, if you
they
use, well, I
all the
guess.
directions.
Well, I was gonna say it's on the. I don't know how you're gonna play it, but you should be able to use save states.
That's my plan.
True. It's cheating though.
Make it easy mode.
That's cheating though.
But that's you just don't tell anyone you use those states. You say I played it authentic, and they're like, "Oh dang, page is for
Oh,
real."
see, you weren't
I
playing
played it
it.
on
You weren't streaming it, so nobody knows that you're
I
a
Yep,
played
cheater.
it on the Super Nintendo version. I played a version of it of the Super Nintendo. Doesn't matter which one. But yeah, that'll be our Castlevania 4 one next week. So make
Super.
sure to Super Castlevania. So yeah, make sure to tune in for that, and yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. That episode should be a lot of people on, so I'm sure it'll be chaos.
Oh, yeah,
Stop screaming over.
I don't envy you and that edit.
Get a whistle so like it's my
Yeah. Oh, 15-second penalty. No talking for you.
Yeah, I'll just go and have a coffee. No one will even know I'm gone.
Oh man, imagine like those kind of games as HD 2D.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Oh,
Cool.
just get the depth between the background. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're Konami, so you know that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's Square's like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own Castlevania.
They make everything else these days. They might as well. They got 100 games coming out, so.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks for everyone for listening, and thanks to Paige and Casey for joining me tonight. And we'll see everyone out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.